So listen to me, if you want to have consistently profitable trading results long-term, it's not about using this strategy or that strategy. It's about the culmination of daily habits that you do for years to come. So I'm going to share with you the 9 most powerful habits that I have fine-tuned into my own routine of being a full-time trader for over 5 years now. And I know that if you instill and implement these daily habits into your trading, you can make an instant improvement from today. My name is Matt Donlevy and I'm the founder of Photon Trading, which is one of the fastest growing Forex trading communities. And we have now helped hundreds not just acquire funding, but actually achieve long-term profitability with their funding. So the first daily habit is having a religious morning routine that I follow so that I can consistently show up on time. And I can't begin to tell you how much money I probably lost in trading until I actually had this structure in place, but we'll get into that in a little bit more in a minute. So by morning routine, am I talking about having your cold shower, having your 15-minute morning meditation, 20 minutes of red light therapy, writing your 5 affirmations in your little nice notebook, sipping on your green tea? No, look, that might help you, but I'm literally just talking about getting up at the same time and getting to your desk on time. Because half the battle of trading is literally just showing up. Now, why is that? Well, as traders, we are at the mercy of something called random distribution. Okay, cool. Well, what does that really mean? Well, it means that we don't know the exact sequence of our winners and losers. Okay, so you could have a pretty decent strike rate of, let's say, 60%. And, you might think that, well, I'm probably going to have 6 winners in a row. And then, maybe then those 4 losers will come. Trading doesn't work like that in reality. Okay, we will never know the sequence of our wins and losses. We are not employees working on that nice fixed monthly salary. So my job as a trader is to make sure that I am present to be able to execute my setup when it presents. Now, of course, we can refine that window for, when that is most likely to be. So for me, I know that my edge presents itself between 7 and 10 a.m. GMT for the London session. So I just know that I need to be present during that window. But even though I know that, I still have no idea if it's going to be a winning or a losing day, right? And there's something called the Pareto principle, which states that for many outcomes, 80% of the consequences come from just 20% of the causes. And interestingly, I've found that that applies exactly to my trading as well, where around 80% of my trading results come from just about 20% of trades. Okay, cool. So what does the Pareto principle and random distribution really mean for us? Well, it means that 1, I don't know when my winning trades are going to be, and I don't know when my big winning trades are going to be. And it took me a long time to really wrap my head around this, because what I would do, especially early in my career, is I would look at the market, just before going to bed, see what it's like, how's it setting up for the next day, is it looking good? And if I was a bit tired and I kind of subconsciously knew that I wanted to have a lie-in the next day, I would kind of just tell myself, yeah, it doesn't look great. It's probably nothing's going to set up for tomorrow. It'll be dead. Just treat yourself, have a bit of a lie-in. Naturally, I would have a lie-in, and what do you think happened? That would be the morning that one of my big setups would present itself and I'd miss it. And then, you're forever playing that break-even dance, right? When you're making mistakes like that. So like a lot of things in life, but particularly trading, you never really learn your lesson until you've been burnt enough times. And eventually I had to realize that no matter what, I need to be at my desk during that window, no matter how it looks the night before, no matter how tired I am, get there, be present. So that's habit number 1, literally just show up. Be present every single weekday for your window. And I promise you, over the long term, you showing up consistently will make a huge difference. It's a non-negotiable. Now, that takes us nicely into habit number 2, which is consistently performing your pre-session analysis. Now, the word pre-session is absolutely key here, because once that session opens and the volume starts picking up, those candles start getting bigger and they start moving rapidly in one direction, right? Naturally, your emotions are going to start going up a little bit. Your heart rate's still going to start increasing. And if you're not prepared, you're likely going to make mistakes. So the idea with doing your pre-session analysis is that you know exactly what you want to see, exactly where you want to see it, and exactly when you want to see it. And I go through the exact same mechanical framework every time I am on the chart. And what this does is it allows me to form my directional bias for the session, but to also pinpoint exactly on the chart where it is I'm potentially looking to get involved. But then I also know at each of those levels exactly what I want to see price do when or if it gets there. And I created a cheat sheet for myself and for my members that tells us what to do in every stage of the market. So it literally tells us what confirmations to wait for and what exact entry model to wait for, at each of those levels, depending on exactly what the market is doing. And this way you can be as mechanical as possible to stop your emotions interfering right when you need to make a decision at that critical moment. So this habit of doing your pre-session analysis with the same mechanical framework every single day and every single session is absolutely crucial to giving you that clarity and that confidence that you need to be able to execute at the highest level consistently. So I always perform this at least 30 minutes before my session open, and I share my analysis with the community, and this really helps to hold me, one, accountable, but two, to also really have to think through my analysis, make sure I'm awake and I've thought this through properly, because obviously there's some responsibility, right? Sharing that with a lot of people every morning. But yeah, it really helps to get your thinking clear, really helps to know exactly what you want to see before that market starts moving, before those candles start pumping. And I promise you, it will make a big difference to your performance when you actually go to execute if you do this. So yeah, I recommend do this habit, start from tomorrow or whenever the next trading day is. Record your pre-session analysis, know exactly what you want to see, where you want to see it and when, and then make sure that you compare after the session, because it will be really interesting to see what you plan to do versus what you actually did. And I think you'll find some interesting things there. So naturally, that leads us into the third habit, which is session focus. Probably could have come up with a better name for that, but I think you guys get the drill. And that is to be completely focused when you are trading live during that session. You know that's your window. You need to be 100% locked in to the charts. So phone goes do not disturb, and actually just check out of the room. Out of sight, out of mind. You don't even need it. It's just a portal for distraction. Be professional. You're sat at your desk for your session. You need to lock in. You don't need to be on your phone. You don't need to be on Instagram. If you're having a slow session, seeing your favorite trader post some MT4 screenshot of some trade they're in, and then you're looking at your chart trying to think, oh, I need to get in, I need to take a trade, because you're getting FOMO. Get rid of the phone. You don't need MetaTrader on it, right? You can download that on your desktop, phone out the room. Trust me, this will make a big improvement to your focus during session and also your results, because it's you versus you. You don't need to see what anyone else is doing. Then I also put on my noise cancelling headphones, and I just listen to something like binaural beats or sort of modern cinematic music, just on a really low volume, and nothing with lyrics in, or like hardcore techno beats that's going to get your heart rate up, right? We want to be calm, relaxed, centered, locked into the charts, knowing exactly what we need to do. And a big key sort of sub habit that I do during the session is I just focus on what I call my medium time frame. Okay, so without going too deep in this video, we'll do a whole other thing on this, but I have a 3 time frame philosophy in my trade plan. Essentially, I have a higher time frame, a medium time frame, and a lower time frame. Higher time frame is the overall objective of price. The medium time frame fulfills the objective of the higher time frame. So basically, whether we're trading that pro trend run or that counter trend pullback phase. And then obviously the lower time frame is my execution time frame. Now, what I used to make this mistake all the time, and sometimes I still do, right? I'm human, is I would look at the lower time frame too much, right? It's moving during session, you get locked in, and you see your entry model set up, and what do? You end up punting into a trade. When actually, all the work needs to be done on my medium time frame, because I'm trading medium time frame ideas and medium time frame zones. Okay, I'm just using the lower time frame to help me. So the habit that I do is now I just focus on that medium time frame. I don't even have my lower time frame showing, because I don't need to see it. I only need to go on my lower time frame when my medium time frame zone has been hit, my alert goes off, I've seen my criteria, I've seen my confirmations. At that very last second, then I'm going down to my lower time frame. Okay, so just focus on that. Don't look at your lower time frame, because you can have the best entry model in the world. You can have every bell and whistle. It can be amazing, but if you hit that in the wrong area, it's pretty much worthless. Okay, so focus on your main time frame, focus on those ideas, and only drop down to your lower time frame execution at the last minute. And I promise you, this will help you not punt into so many of those trades you just know you shouldn't have been, and you just kind of got sucked into it out of pure FOMO. And the other little habit that I have during my trading session is what I call my win and loss routine. Okay, because let's say you win, right? The more that you fist bump and you celebrate like you've won a horse race or something, the more you swing towards elation, guess what's going to happen when you inevitably hit a losing trade? Well, the more that you've swung to elation when you win and you celebrate and you fist pump, when you take a losing trade, the more that you're going to swing towards depression. Okay, that's where the masses of losing traders are. they swing between those poles of emotions, right? They're negatively and positively charged. So when I realized this, what I would do is when I would take a winning trade, I would literally try and just practice like showing no physical response. Like sit on your hands if you have to, like do what you need to do, because winning or losing as a trader, it's the same. It's just part of your job. You're just executing your edge. Every time you take a winning trade, just remember that you're one trade closer to your next losing trade. Likewise, every time you take a losing trade, just realize that you're one trade closer to your next winning trade. And that can really help you to just keep you neutral, keep you balanced, and keep you centered so that you can execute consistently at that highest level. Literally the other day, I was in a trade, I did all the hard work, I was patient, I did my analysis, waited for my confirmations, took the trade, executed perfectly, and then I moved to break even a little bit too early. I kind of knew I was choking the trade. Guess what happened? Price just pulls back, pukes me out for break even, and then dumps straight towards my target. I'm human, I feel the emotions, that one hurt. But what did I do? I walked away from my desk straight away, take 5 minutes, and sometimes I need to do that because I recognize I'm going to go on tilt and I don't want to compound that mistake any longer. Okay, so my win routine is essentially sit in your hands, don't fist bump, don't celebrate. It's just another day in the office. Loss routine, walk away if you need to, get away from the desk, don't compound the mistake, come back another day. Okay, so habit number 4 is my post-session routine, because what gets measured gets managed. Now, I get this question a lot, and it's like, what's that one thing that you did? And in my opinion, it's a bit of a stupid question because it's never the one thing, right? It's everything that you do consistently. But this specific habit, doing those markups after every session, probably is one of those things that made one of the biggest quantum leaps forward in my trading, because it allows you to review price action in depth whilst it's still hot and fresh in your mind. You can instantly highlight any mistakes that you've made, or even reinforce good habits that you have done things right. And then you can approach the next trading day or the next trading session with extreme confidence and clarity. Now, once I've done that markup, I then actually go back and use bar replay and backtest that session, and I record it as a video. I record my voiceover over it, where I can really, practice it again in depth, just reinforcing the lessons that I've got from that day and the key takeaways. And then I share that with the rest of our community in Photon. And so many members have said that seeing these daily session recaps every single day has actually been one of the biggest leaps as well in their improvements, because, well, they get to compare, what they saw and the way that they viewed the market to the way that we did, right? We're all executing the same trade plan, the same strategy. And for them, being able to see that applied every single day has just helped them leaps and bounds. And I'd actually recommend you do this yourself, because you can do it within TradingView. There's a screen recording function. I believe it's in the top right-hand corner. And then you can build up a collection of daily session recap videos for your own library. And it's just a really effective habit. Now, the key with all of this, and hardly anyone bothers to do it because it's the hard work, but don't just do these every single day and then never look at them again. You need to be reviewing them at the end of every week, at the end of every month, and at the end of every quarter. You need to be looking at them collectively, those key takeaways, so that you can spot patterns with a statistically significant sample size. So from tomorrow, start marking up your charts after every session. No excuses, and I promise you will watch your confidence absolutely skyrocket. So then by about 11 o'clock, my actual trading day is done, and this is when we go on to the 5th habit, which is exercise. So every single day, my goal with exercise is to get my heart rate up so high that I either have to completely just focus on my breathing or not dropping a heavy weight on my ugly mug. Now, we all know the benefits of exercise, but the main benefits from more of a trading perspective is it just really helps me to clear my mind, really helps me to relieve that stress. But probably the most important thing is it really helps me to start to embrace pain and try and, increase my pain threshold as high as possible. Now, let me explain. The modern human brain that is sitting in both of our heads right now, that was formed about 200,000 years ago, and it hasn't actually really evolved much since then. So we literally have the same hardware in our brains as our Paleolithic ancestors. So your inner caveman, that is doing the trading when you are stressed. So let's simplify things for a minute and just imagine that your brain is split into 2 parts. And the lower bit is your emotional brain, your amygdala, and your higher brain is like your thinking brain, your prefrontal cortex, okay? Now, your thinking brain is where we obviously want to have those decisions for trading, making good strategic decisions. But when you are stressed, all sensory information coming in, it goes straight to your amygdala, your emotional brain. And your amygdala, all that wants to do is it just wants to seek pleasure and it wants to just avoid pain. So your amygdala, when it sees that information coming in, it makes a decision based on past learning whether that information is a direct threat to your life. Now, back then, 200,000 years ago, getting your lunch could literally kill you. So, this was a really useful thing to evolve with, because having that fight or flight meant that you could, actually survive, right? But we're not fighting saber-toothed tigers anymore, are we? Instead, we're just sat at our desks all day fighting Japanese candlesticks. Seems like quite a big difference, right? Well, here's the thing. When you're stressed, it's your inner caveman that is doing the trading. So when we're in the uncertain environment of the market, your brain, your inner caveman, it sees all of that uncertainty as a direct threat to your life. So then your brain instantly goes into fight or flight mode, and your thinking brain is literally disabled. And this is when the classic trader's mistakes happen, where you get fear of execution, fear of loss, FOMO, taking your profits too early. Why is that? Well, it's because your brain is just trying to protect you. It just sees that as pain, and it's just like, get out of that position, or even, the pain of the market going away from you. So it forces you to jump into that position and execute, a trade you should never have taken. So your brain, it literally sees all uncertainty as a direct threat to your life. Okay, cool. Well, what does all of this have to do with the habit of exercise? Well, that's what I was saying about pain threshold, because guess what's going to happen the next time you're in the market in an uncomfortable, or what you perceive to be, a painful position? That inner voice kicks in. You're going to make a mistake, right? If price moves towards your profit target, doesn't quite hit it, and it starts pulling back, that little voice comes in like, just take the profit that you've got. It's going to come all the way back to break even. And then you get out of the trade. And then what happens? The trade continues to your profit target without you. You've messed up your strategy. You've messed up your edge. So for me, exercise is key. Really push that pain threshold. Push past that voice, don't listen to it, don't give in, stick to the plan, and I promise you this will translate positively into your trading. And habit number 6 is diet. Health is wealth, guys. And I say this all the time, that a pro trader is a pro athlete. So the same way that you view backtesting and journaling and executing as part of your job as a trader, you need to view exercise and diet in the exact same brackets. Now, I actually just started a raw carnivore diet, and I feel amazing on it. I don't feel sluggish anymore. I used to have a big bowl of porridge, or oatmeal, I think you guys call it across the pond. Loads of protein in it, peanut butter, a lot. Have that, during session, and then I'd literally be battling to stay awake before the end of the session, which is just ludicrous. But now I fast until the end of the session, until I've done my post-session recaps, before I then go and have a meal. And this has made a huge difference to my concentration and energy levels, because we need to be performing at the highest level when we're making decisions with your hard-earned capital on the line. Now, let's not get it twisted. Eating organic grass-fed beef, it's not going to make you profitable. But stopping eating, high sugar, cancerous processed foods, that is going to make a difference to your ability to think clearly, your ability to sleep, but also just, if you can have a healthy body, healthy mind, you're going to feel confident. You're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to respect yourself. You're going to have that self-love. And if you can walk into the markets with that clear mind, with that self-confidence, that will definitely translate into your results on your self-image and how you will ultimately perform. So make that investment in food. I promise you it's worth it. Now, I know you all have different budgets. You don't have to jump into the highest quality stuff straight away, but I don't care what income you're on. You can cut out a lot of the crap that you probably might be eating. Backtesting, the thing that everybody loves to do. Okay, so I would try and recommend that you get at least 1 hour in a day. Now, that doesn't have to be hardcore backtesting. It can literally just be 1 hour of learning. So it will kind of depend on what stage you're at. If you're a bit earlier on in your journey and you're in a good community, then it's probably worth watching some content, but don't just be watching content on 2x speed and just blasting through it. Watch the same video 3 times slowly and apply that concept to the charts. Practice with intention. Just 1 hour of focused intention every day will make a monumental difference. Okay, it's not a race, it's you against you. But if you do this, I promise you, anyone you are comparing yourself to, you will overtake. Within a year, within 2 years, you will fly past them with just 1 hour of focused intention on one concept, one thing you need to work on. This will be huge for you. Now, if you're a bit more experienced, then you can kind of go into the more sort of hardcore, backtesting approach. But again, don't just aimlessly go on bar replay. Pick something you want to work on, something you want to improve. Maybe it's an area of your trading that you've identified from your post-session markups as an area of weakness. Maybe with your management, you're leaving a little bit of profit on the table too often. So go and backtest that, right? Try different management methods and see if you can eke out an optimal rate of profit with a slightly different approach. So 1 hour a day of backtesting or learning, applying a concept, and I promise you this will compound massively over the long run. Habit number 8, hug a loved one. Now, some of you might be rolling your eyes or, laughing at this, but honestly, I think it's imperative that you make sure you have, spend some time for some social interactions every day. Now, as traders, a lot of us, we like to be at our desk behind our charts. We're probably naturally quite introverted, but do not become a social recluse. It's not healthy. Trust me. So just make sure that you spend at least 30 minutes speaking to friends, speaking to a loved one, and spend some quality time. Now, I heard something that a guy was doing recently that I thought was quite cool, which is uses alarms to remind him of what type of person he needs to be at different times of the day. So you could have your morning alarm, and that's to put you in trader mode, okay? So wake up, morning routine, do your session focus, do your post-session markups and all that good stuff. Then your alarm could go off in the afternoon. It's like, okay, athlete mode. Get my exercise in, get my healthy diet, okay? Your evening alarm goes off and then, okay, I'm in husband mode, boyfriend mode, whatever it is. And you remind yourself that I'm leaving trading at the door now and I need to spend quality time with them. Because I heard this once and it really resonated with me, and that's everyone pays a price to get profitable, but it's often not until too late that you realize what price you paid. And it very often comes in the form of sacrificing relationships. And to be honest, some relationships will need to be sacrificed for you to get to where you want to be, but you need to be very careful in deciding which ones are worth keeping and working on and which ones you can cut. But it's worth remembering that, a lot of us are often doing this for our loved ones, right? Pushing hard in trading, trying to be as successful as we can for those people. So spending time with them, it can really help you to remember your why. And if your why is strong, that is really going to help you to persevere through the inevitable tough times. And the final habit, of course, is sleep. And really, I could have started with this because it lays the foundation for everything. If you nail your sleep, you will literally win the day. For me, it's the biggest battle because I still struggle to get it perfect. But when it goes right, when I have a good night's sleep, everything else for me is just a joy. So look, there's tons of information out on the web. Read Matthew Walker's book or listen to any of the podcasts. We all know the basics, right? No caffeine after midday. Make sure your room is cool. Have a hot shower or bath before bed to drop your temperature, body temperature, 1 or 2 temperatures, blackout blinds, cotton sheets, the lot. I'm not going to get into that for now. But if you were to take one tip that's made the biggest difference for my sleep by far, is setting an alarm to go to bed. I've just realized I'm telling you to set an alarm for everything, but I promise you it helps. And I genuinely do this. I have an alarm that goes off 9 p.m. That reminds me, get to bed. No more messing around, no procrastinating. Be consistent, because having that consistent time that you go to bed, consistent sleep time, consistent wake time, it makes all the difference. The tricky bit with this is being consistent on the weekend as well, okay? So if you can try and keep that sleep cycle the same, you can do that. But I know some of you want to be social, go out and drinking. I'm not going to run at you now to cut that all out, but it really does help if you can, and you can be consistent 7 days of the week. Okay, so that's it. You just need to get your consistent routine nailed down. Make sure you just show up at the charts, do your pre-session analysis, be focused during your session, always do your post-session markups, make sure you get your heart rate up exercising, make sure you have that healthy diet to back up what you're doing with your exercise, make sure you don't become a recluse. I don't care how introverted you are, we're all social animals. Be social. And then of course, do what you can do to make sure you nail your sleep. And I promise you, nailing this routine will all make a big difference to your trading if you do it consistently every day. Like I said at the start, we are traders and we're at the mercy of random distribution. We are playing a game in an uncertain market environment. So give yourself the best possible chance of consistency by doing consistent actions that will give you consistent results. And it's that famous quote, right? People do not decide their future, they decide their habits. And it's their habits that decide their future. So what really matters is whether your habits are putting you on that path to success, and you should be far more concerned with your current trajectory on that route rather than necessarily your current results, your current P&L. Now, you probably watched this video and you're seeing all these habits, and when you're trying to install these habits, don't try and be perfect and do everything at once, because you're just going to set yourself up for failure. It's going to be really hard for you to continuously do that. So instead, just start by asking, what can I do even on my worst day? Start there, master the art of showing up, and then advance. Okay, that wraps up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Now watch this video that I have specifically picked for you that will make an instant improvement to your trading.